All right, what's up? What's up? What's up with you, Demarcus and Golson? Said Courtney Kemp made a deal with Apple TV for season 2 of Nemesis. Uh, that's actually probably pretty good, to hear to be able to hear that because I think Apple TV will do that. They'll release theirs one episode at a time, so that's better for content creators such as myself. Good to hear. Yeah, I knew Nemesis got co- um, confirmed for season 2, but this is the first that I heard of it being a deal being made with Apple TV. If you said that, then I missed it, and that's my bad. But yeah, and typically that's what happens. When shows are that big. When shows do that well, yeah, they're gonna renew it relatively fast. That's kind of how you can measure how well the show is doing, how fast they renew it. Who would you say is better, Iverson or SGA? I gotta say, bro, this is crazy now, and my answer might shock you. So I actually found out something about SGA that I didn't. I mean, not SGA, about Iverson that I didn't know until probably a month, not even a month ago, because I was talking with my brother and he was talking about Iverson. And my brother was an Iverson fan growing up. And I had no idea Iverson only made it past the conference one time in his career. And that was the one time that he made it to the finals in '01 against the Lakers. I had no idea. So other than that, you know, it's like, he didn't make it very far. Now, granted, his peak didn't last very long because of his injuries, but at the same time, you kind of have to factor that in. I know he has an MVP. He made it to the finals once. He's very iconic, and was very influential. But with all of that being said, it's crazy. I might have to go with SGA. Now, a lot of people might disagree with me on that, but like I've always said routinely on this channel, I value winning a lot. Winning and dominance matters. So SGA already has 2 MVPs, even though that's an accolade. And I told you accolades for me, it matters, but that's more so for me when you're trying to make like a deciding factor between them if it's kind of close. And in this particular case, it's kind of close to me because who do I think just got the overall better game? If you asking me that, I might lean more towards Iverson. But you gotta factor if we're talking about career, we gotta factor in the fact that SGA already has 2 MVPs and a title under his belt. Plus, he was the Finals MVP. And I mean, he's SGA is where Iverson's supposed to be. You may could make an argument of that. Now, here's the thing, though. I will say this. I gotta put this into it too. Um, Iverson played in a much tougher era. That's just the truth. Tougher era where it was way more physical. They didn't do that load management bull crap. They didn't do them soft ticky tack fouls. Because I do believe if Iverson was in this league today, he would dominate like crazy. Because, but at the same time, here's another factor for Iverson. Iverson had an ego, had a very, very big ego. And I think that is also part of why his career may have not as been as good as it could have been. Outside of the injuries and stuff, his ego got in the way of it too. SGA doesn't have an ego like that. I think SGA is the type that's like, okay, what's the best move for the team? Do a poll on who's better between SGA and Iverson. That's not a bad poll. I would do it on my UAN Hoops channel though. It wouldn't be on the UAN channel. But yeah, that's actually not a bad question for sure. I think it's close enough and it's comparable. I do think certain people like my boy Mookie on Rated R Sports Debate, they're ranking SGA too high already. Yeah, he's good and stuff like that. But like they got him leaping a lot of people really fast. Now I agree if he managed to win another title this year and he gets finals MVP again this year, now he's in a different league. You gotta really pay attention to him then. But like one finals MVP, one title, two back-to-back MVPs, that's pretty good. But like, with that alone, you can't say he's better than Isaiah Thomas. You can't say he's better than, a lot of people just off that alone. Now I think he's close. You can debate it with Isaiah Thomas and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I do think they slightly jumping it. Like this nigga said he's better than Kobe already, and that's just blasphemous. So pump your brakes on the SGA train. He hasn't proven that yet. Anyways, though, let's go ahead and get more into this Thunders and Spurs recap because I'm actually not going to be on here that long. I got to head out probably in another hour and a half. But anyways, though, Thunders Spurs recap. I listened to it while I was driving more so the first half and the second half I watched it, right? So what did I notice? I know it seems as if Chet is still very much afraid of Wembanyama. Obviously, SGA had a much better what's good SG? Obviously SGA, make sure y'all hitting the like button that y'all, coming through as well. SGA had a much better game though. That was the SGA game that we was looking for. And I'm not gonna lie, after game one, I was kind of concerned on whether or not SGA could get off against them, but it's seeming like he's figuring it out and still getting it done. Now, I kind of skimped through a few independent spaces, like other YouTubers, and I also took a look at First Take not too long ago, and I was hearing a segment between you know Stephen A. and Kendrick Perkins, and it was somebody else. I can't remember who else it was. But anyways, the point is that they were saying Jake Will is a concern. Who was saying that? I believe Kendrick Perkins was trying to say that because he's leaning towards. Dang, hold on. Was he the one leaning towards that? He believes the Spurs is going to win. Yeah, he was leaning towards the Spurs is going to win. And Stephen A. basically was saying. Stephen A. Ended up saying that the Thunder is kind of in a good position because of with Harper's injury, even though that Harper injury kind of seems a little sus, right? Because Harper, um, Harper was coming back out, and then it's like the people came to him and told him to turn back around. I don't know if y'all caught that, and a lot of people are talking about, the league, the NBA is fixed because of that. What's up, Talia? They were saying that it was fixed because of that, and I don't know. I might have to agree with them to a degree because it looks like they like now Harper. We don't need you coming back in. We need the Thunder to win this because they want to prolong the series, right? Obviously, they couldn't let the Thunder go down 0-2. That would have been pretty much the end of that series if it would have happened. So they did a much bigger job, better job in containing Wemby. Wemby still had a pretty good game. It wasn't a great one like he had game one, but it was um, it was a solid one. I think he had like 20 something points last game. Not as many rebounds. Pretty good defensive game. You know, but anyway, so overall, it was a good game, not like game one. Why is you coming a Detroit person right now? Saying what up though? Let me check the stat line real quick though. So what was that stat line? So yeah, Wemby had 21 points. He shot pretty well. He shot 8 for 16, but why he only took 16 shots? I mean, I don't know. Um, he had 17 rebounds. You can't argue with that. 6 assists is pretty good. 4 turnovers, obviously not the best, not the worst we ever seen, but you don't want 4 turnovers. With 4 blocks and a steal. So still pretty good game from Wemby. To say Devin Vassell played pretty well. He had 22. Paseo 25 played well. Damn, Harper was playing well until he got injured. I mean, it looks like they did pretty damn good, actually. Shit. But obviously, like I said, SGA had an SGA game. And here's another major thing that they did that was differently, right? Different. They put Hardenstein in this game. They didn't have him in, I think, game four. I think they kind of was going small. But again, I haven't caught the beginning to the end of neither game yet. So I'm simply going off what I remember seeing at the end of the games. But yeah, it looked like Hardenstein got a lot more minutes this game. He put in 10 points, had 13 boards. And it seems as if, he may have made a difference slightly in trying to contain Wemby. Uh, Jay Will, like I said, he got injured early, didn't play much. And here's the thing, OKC is way more they're used to playing without J Dub, because he kind of was out almost like pretty much half of the season anyway. So they're used to it. But the Spurs, on the other hand, they're not used to playing without Harper and De'Aaron Fox. So that was the factor that, like I was saying earlier, that Stephen A. had said the reason why um, he has the Thunder and still in good position. San Antonio will win game three. I mean, you're probably right. I won't. This nigga stupid. Like I said, SG 2029 stand for SGA 2029. Sorry, guy, always. Shea Gilders Alexander. Might say put some respect on his name. Wemby will lock down SGA in game seven with a press. You be talking like your ass be having a script for real. Hmm. Yeah, I don't have it on there. It's really weird. Oh man. So, but anyways, for my predictions on what I think this year, be honest, bro, it's for me is still a toss up, a major toss up. I do think the Spurs. For some reason, I do think the Spurs is going to win. That's who I think if I had to pick, that's who I would lean towards the Spurs because to me it do seem like they have the more. I think it's going to come down to Wemby versus SGA, and I just think as far as dominance, Wemby is going to be able to dominate the game a little bit more than SGA. Now I could be proven wrong, and I wouldn't mind being proven wrong. What's up, Ali? But it just seems as if to me that's that's what it is. And maybe coaching too. Maybe it'll come down to coaching to a degree. How you feel about Stephon Castle dunking on SGA in game one? So I kind of saw it. I mean, shit, it ain't much of a big deal. I mean, you get dunked on. It happens. Didn't really think too much of it. But I will say I thought that SGA was playing pretty good goddamn defense yesterday. I'll say that shit. I seen him get a couple blocks, some key steals. But I also want to touch on, let's touch on New York too. New York and the Cavs, right? I mean, yeah. So the Knicks and the Cavs. It's crazy. This game right here was insane. At least game one was insane. I haven't touched on game one. So allow me to talk about game one. SGA is very overhyped, if you ask me. Well, it's what he's accomplishing at the end of the day. Because I know a lot of people are saying they didn't believe SGA deserved the MVP. In my opinion, I think he did. Because I'm just going with what's been traditional. Traditionally, the MVP typically goes to the best player on the best team. That's typically, I would say, probably at an 80 something plus percent rate. That's who it normally goes out to. So for all the people that's complaining, especially the Nikola Jokic fans, they need to shut the fuck up. I don't know how he even got number two. He didn't deserve number two. I think Wemby should have been higher than him. But at the end of the day, SGA did do some historical things this season. So people got to consider that. They won the most games, 60 plus games. They were the number one seed in the entire league. He averaged 30 points for the third consecutive time. Now, granted, that doesn't matter when it comes to the MVP this year, but still, he averaged 30. I think around maybe 6 assists, shot 55% from the field. I think that's the highest anybody's ever shot for a guard to average 30 and shoot 50 plus percent. So I think he did deserve it. But I also like how Wemby took it and going at him because he feel like he stole something from him. So I mean I absolutely love the competitive nature. But yeah, I don't know if I would say he's overhyped. I know a couple of people are saying that. I think it's more so people aren't a fan of his game. However, I will say this though, because it does seems like to a degree his game isn't transitioning over to the playoffs the same as it has, you know, in the season. And we have seen times where this happens. Like we see it all the time with James Harden. We've seen it with what Paul George. You know, players that do well in the season. Hey, another big one, Austin Reeves, because a lot of people, and I was called a hater for saying this, but last year, even when people was giving Austin Reeves all the praise that they were giving him, I said, bro, Austin Reeves is overrated. And I was called a hater, like always, for stating the truth. Because if you pay attention, majority of Austin Reed's game is dictated on him trying to foul bait. So he's relying on the referee to have a good game. Can he make some shots? Is he good? Does he have skill? Yes. But at the end of the day, a lot of it is dictated on the whistle. He's trying to manipulate the refs to give him free throws. That way, you have to play him a certain way, and he can kind of get off on you as far as shooting. But if they allow you to play good, tough, physical defense, which is in the playoffs they typically do, he's not that good. I said that to say SGA is kind of the same, but SGA is like a much better version of them because SGA has a stellar mid range jump shot, right? SGA actually can still defend, so he's also pretty good at finishing at the basket as well. So like he's still good. It does seem like he's taking a tad bit step down in the playoffs, but hey, it could just be so far. At the end of the day, they've won 9 out of 10 games. So he's doing something right. So you said Dame Lillard is letting me too. What do you mean, letting you down? What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean with that. New York Knicks in the finals versus the Spurs. So speaking of that, let's go to New York because I definitely want to touch on that. Right? Let's go to New York. Like I said, against the Cavaliers, I didn't watch the game either. Look for game one. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch. I actually didn't watch this game at all. I just kind of was keeping up with the score, and I noticed at first Donovan Mitchell was having a pretty good game. I was like, and it's funny because I just talked to both of my brothers about Donovan Mitchell and the things that he's accomplished and stuff like that. Even was trolling some LeBron fans about Donovan Mitchell being the greatest Cavalier player of all time, right? So he has this hot start in game one. And then I stopped paying attention and I looked at, I think I checked the score again, and it was in the third quarter. The Knicks was up. I mean, the Cavaliers was up pretty big. I was like, oh shit, they about to pull this out, pull off a nice little upset, right? Just for me to get a notification later saying the Knicks done rallied back and made it a game. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then checked it again, the Knicks didn't beat them. Actually came back to win by 11. Insane. So it seems as if, from what I saw, they were targeting James Harden, which is crazy. James Harden is always um, getting picked on defense. He's always doing something in the playoff to be a letdown for his team. Whether it's him not providing offensively, getting blown by on defense. Like Jack, why did the Cavaliers want James Harden? Your guess is as good as mine. I keep telling people you can't trust teams with James Harden on it. But anyways, it's just one game, but it seems like it could possibly be one of those demoralizing games where you can't come back from. I guess we'll have to see how strong-willed the Cavaliers team is. Also, the coach not calling any timeouts. doing the rally of the Knicks was very questionable as well, which gets us to game two. I think the Knicks is going to beat the Cavaliers pretty handily today. Not saying that they're going to blow them out, but they might. But I think they're going to win by at least 10 or more points. As far as the Lakers talking about trading Reeves for Giannis, I think that's false because I also saw a report of what it looked like to say Luka was saying he didn't want Austin Reeves being in the package for Luka. I mean for Giannis. So I don't know about that. Damian Lillard's letting me down too. Dame is another Paul George on the playoffs. Well, I don't know if I'll say he's a Paul George in the playoffs, but he certainly has an issue with whenever he's playing against Steph. I know that. That boy is like when it comes to Steph, Steph is his kryptonite. That nigga cannot deal with Steph Curry at all. But yeah, so the New York the Knicks, I got the Knicks winning tonight. And as far as the Knicks versus the Spurs in the finals, I think that's very much a possibility now. If you'd have told me this 2 months ago, I'd been like, hell no, but it's looking like it. And here's the thing, here's the conspiracy theorist in me. I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there, but hey, it is what it is. I'm so sure a lot of you guys probably has heard the the thing about them saying that the Knicks would be the winner of the finals this year and that it was in the Epstein files, right? Now, I looked it up on Google. They said that's something that's false, but hey, it could be because it could be some truth to this because I think the NBA is scripted, allegedly, and it could also be um, it could be the fact that the Knicks are playing the Spurs. Now, here's the conspiracy part. You got the Knicks, who is obviously in New York, and then you got Wemby, who's his nickname is the Alien, right? What has been happening all throughout this year? There has been talks, multiple talks about the aliens, alien invasion, right? Then we so happen to get a great player in the NBA named Wembyama that is known as the alien, right? So, with that being said, could it be that they're secretly trying to tell us that there will be an alien invasion in New York sometime this year? I wouldn't be surprised. So, if you so happen to later hear reports of people talking about aliens in New York, remember UAN said this. Because I'm telling you, I don't put nothing past it. Ain't none of this shit real. Championship aside, who is better, LeBron James or James Harden? It depends on what we're talking about. We're talking about just nah, bro. Honestly, I don't think I can put James Harden over LeBron in any kind of way. To be honest, even if they didn't have any championships, it don't matter. I'm picking LeBron. James Harden is a choke artist. He's a choke artist. I think his game is, like I said, dictated on foul baiting. He can score, sure, but he's atrocious defensively. He's a turnover king, just like LeBron. Both of them do a lot of turnovers. LeBron turns it over more, but I'm just saying both of them do it. He's not anybody that I would depend on in a big game under any circumstances. So yeah, give me LeBron any day, every day. You said fuck Trey Young, Bronson, Goat, Knicks, and Foe. blowout time. Okay. They could end up blowing them out. I don't know. I don't know why you talk about. I guess you still ain't forgave Trey Young for what he did, um, like a while ago. But um, it's possible the Knicks might mess around and sweep the Cavaliers. But I don't know. I'm gonna go with my boy Donovan Mitchell gonna be able to win a game or two. But yeah, if the Knicks mess around and win this title this year, this is would be wild. Because I'm pretty sure outside of New Yorkers, nobody picked the damn Knicks to win the title. And it's just crazy how the trend will continue of somebody new each year keeps winning. It hasn't been any back to back winners. No one has won back to back since 2018. But since it's getting a little quiet and stuff up in here, I also just saw a report that they said that the Heat are strongly targeting Giannis this summer. Trying to think what I think the Heat getting Giannis, will that make them a championship team? I mean, they got a good coach. I suppose that helped Bam out because I think Bam is. I mean, he's good, but he's too small to be playing the center position. They need to get a real center. Hold up, why you don't want Giannis up with the Lakers? People love talking trash and be wrong. Sometimes you got to say under the radar. The Knicks are very under the radar this season. I guess. You saying can I give you robust? What the you talking about like some currency? Money or something? Hell are you talking about? I already don't trust Luca health. Why bring in another injury prone dude who needs the ball in their hands to be effective? Now I agree with you on that, engineer, but think about it this way: you made it. They were the fourth seed this year, right? They could have easily have been the third seed. Now I do think the refs and shit was helping them. Just being honest, but think about this: LeBron missed. How many games did LeBron miss this year? LeBron missed like 20 some games this year. Austin Reeves missed like 20 some, maybe 30 some games this year. Luka missed like 20 something games this year. Well, not 20, but close to it. If you include the playoffs, 20. So everybody else, now I get you, Luka's already a health issue. But what I'm saying is, so was LeBron, so was Reeves this past year. If you replace LeBron with a younger, better Giannis Antetokounmpo, that gives you another legit scorer, and more importantly, it gives you a better rebounder and defender, which is something LeBron won't give you. LeBron is kind of a person that really needed the ball to be effective too, and they, to a degree, made it work. Now, I do agree with you that Giannis isn't ideally the best fit for Luca because of him needing the ball to be effective. 100% agree with that. But I'm just saying, if you got the opportunity to get him, you might want to pull the trigger on it. Possibly do LeBron for a sign and trade and get multiple teams involved because the Bucks obviously is not going to want to trade Giannis for LeBron. The salaries would match, but why would they want an old ass LeBron? That don't make sense. So you would have to get multiple teams involved to possibly make the trade happen. Like a three team, 4 team trade. Because I mean, it could work. If I'm them, let's say if you're looking to bring Giannis on board, because like I said, it gives you another legit scorer and defender. He also will help on the rebound. Those are 3 issues that the Lakers have that Giannis can fix. The only thing that would be a major issue is the chemistry because of the play styles. But if you could slightly find a way to make the play styles work, this could be a good thing for them. Because one of the reasons why they got beat by Oklahoma City so bad is I think Chet was dominating them. And Chet wouldn't dominate Giannis like that. No, I don't know nothing about no roadblocks. I hope Giannis and Embiid healthy next season to challenge Wemby. I would rather have better role players than Giannis. I agree. Having better role players is a better option. Like I think the era of these people constantly trying to stack the deck with these superstars is over. Um, Golden State fooled people to believe that stacking up like that would make it just work with superstar players. When actuality, you got to look at personnel, the chemistry, the play styles, the coach. All these things are a factor, when it comes to making it actually work. Like, of course, the first people want to say that. Let's just go ahead and say the Celtics. Let's say the Celtics were the first big 3, right? Just for the sake of argument, I know LeBron fans would try to push back if we start. I started with the the big 3 Heat. But let's go with the big 3 Celtics. They won 1 title. I do think if they were younger, they would have won more, but they actually fit. Look at the players. KG doesn't dominate the ball. Ray Allen doesn't dominate the ball. Paul Pierce would probably be the most ball dominant player, and he, not just dominating the ball. Then you had, of course, Rondo, who was a true point. That's the reason why they were able to capture a championship and got relatively close to winning another in 2010. Then, of course, LeBron created the Big Three Heat, and they went on their little run. But even they fell short because, you know, for the team that they had, you would think they would win more than just two titles. But like I said, personnel has to work. Then moving along to Golden State. Golden State worked so well because none of them were ball dominant. They all had the ability to play off the ball. Draymond obviously not looking to dominate the ball. He's looking to distribute. Steph Curry doesn't dominate the ball. Klay Thompson doesn't dominate the ball. Kevin Durant was the most ball dominant one, but in the first year for sure, he wasn't dominating the ball. I think he started letting people get to him saying he's not the, he's a bus rider and this is Steph's team. He's riding off Steph cocktail, all the stuff that they were saying. And he let that get to him that he started wanting to do more isolation and stuff. And in my opinion, that's the reason why Golden State wasn't quite as dominant in 2018 and 19 in the beginning because Kevin Durant was doing a lot more ISO ball. But 2017 Golden State looked at pretty damn unstoppable. And that's because it was no selfish players being egotistic and they were moving and sharing the ball. I would love for Giannis and Kyrie to play together next season. I don't think that's a bad combination, but if that was to happen, what team would they be playing on? See, motion was good. Yeah, I'm a much bigger fan of depth than multiple superstars. Like my Phoenix Suns, we were much better in 2021, 22, and part of 23 before we started trying to do the stack the deck bullshit. You know, get yourself a really great player and surround and build around that really great player. That's your best bet. And then he needs to have a good co-star, and the rest of them great role players, three and D players that hustles their ass off. Like pretty much, that's what Oklahoma City has. That's what San Antonio has. The two best teams in the league right now. That's what they have. Shit, even the Knicks, kind of the same thing. They got one really good player, Jalen Brunson. And the rest of them, I would say, you can say that. I guess you can say it's to a degree. Cat is the co-star, and then of course Ananobi is pretty good. You got Mikal Bridges. You got good role players that can support the team, opposed to them trying to just get, oh, let me get this superstar, this star, and we're gonna make it work. Chet dominated by scratching the floor. Oh, you talking about against the Lakers? Yeah, scratching the floor, and like I said, he. I was looking at the games I was saying. He was also hurting them on the glass as well. There's a multitude of things. So if the Heat managed to get Giannis and Kyrie, they would be very, very tough. I will say that they probably would be a championship team. How you root for role players, however, not side characters. Dude, I don't know. I'm not about to even deal with that, and that's not even what I said. I don't know what you're talking about. I would love for Giannis and Bummy Jr. to play together. I think Bummy Jr. would help elevate Giannis' game. No lie. You hilarious for that. Giannis would be like, man, get this motherfucker. I'm about to tell you. Yeah, you know good damn well you don't believe that shit. So, but yeah, man, I'm gonna try to catch some of this Knicks and Cavaliers game today, even if I only catch the second half. I'm gonna definitely try to catch that today. And at this point, I'm not mad at whoever wins. You know, I'm actually comfortable with all the teams that's in. I don't hate any of them. You know, the only one you can slightly say I got a grudge against is the Thunder to a slight degree because they beat my team. But I'm not that mad at them because they were the better team. Like if I felt like they just straight up cheated us or something like that, like the Spurs back in the day, then I'd be more upset about it. But it was some bad calls with the garbage foul baiting bullshit they were doing. But it is what it is. I ain't too mad about it. Who would I say better, Kyrie or SGA? Kyrie is naturally better than SGA, in my opinion. Because SGA, you know, although he's elite at the mid range, so is Kyrie. Kyrie, I would say, is the better overall shooter. SGA is the better overall defender. But I do think to a degree, SGA's game is like I've been saying, he's relying on the whistle to a degree. Kyrie doesn't need the whistle. Kyrie is just a bucket. Pause. What's good with you though? I see your Knicks still up hanging in there, trying to get something done. I see that deal that now they talking about Courtney Kemp signed with Apple TV. It's crazy. We got this series in six bucket. Yep, I'm thinking that that's close to what I'm looking at. Kyrie need one more chip before he retire. It would be nice, but who would he attach himself to in order to get that done? Like Miami would be a good destination, like you said. Giannis, Kyrie, and Bam would be a good team. They'll be pretty stellar defensively. They have a great coach, great organization overall. You know that demands excellence throughout their organization. And then they got a great closer with Kyrie. You know, another elite scorer and closer. They'll be tough. Well, if I can get in there and see when get an audition for Nemesis, absolutely. I'm gonna try to get up in it. It's interesting that it's going to Apple TV now. I gotta say that. Very interesting. It's a power play that Apple TV just did too to take that away from Netflix. But anyways, people, I think I'm about to go ahead and check out because I'm about to go ahead and go probably go jump in the shower real quick and then get my run these errands. Try to be back enough to watch some of the game. I probably for the people that follow the UAN TV channel, I might do a live for another Raising Canaan live tonight. So stay tuned with that. I'll let y'all know. Definitely got a lot of more videos that I'm also about to release. So appreciate everybody that stopped through, but I'm about to go ahead and just end this stream right now. And for the people on the UAN hoops, I'll be probably do another one tomorrow after that Thunder and after the Thunder and Knicks game. I mean Thunder and Spurs game. And I think I might do another one of these during the daytime tomorrow. But hey, we'll see. But yeah, um, appreciate everybody stopping through. We're gonna catch y'all on the next one.